In the last video, we discussed the 5 different kinds of determiners elaborately. In this video, we shall discuss the 6th type of determiner, the quantifiers. Quantifiers such as all, both, few, many, several, some, any, little are used before a noun to indicate its amount or quantity. Some quantifiers are used only with countable nouns and some only with uncountable, and others are used with both countable and uncountable nouns. Little knowledge is dangerous. In this sentence, little is used with the uncountable noun knowledge. It's very easy. Any child can do it. In this sentence, any is used with the countable noun child. Let us now get into the details of using quantifiers.
Let us start with the quantifier many. Many is used to denote the quantity of plural countable nouns. It is used specially with negatives and interrogative sentences. There were not many students in the class. Here, not many means few in number. How many people will attend the conference? Here, many means some number. In general, it is preferred to use a lot of or lots of in place of many before a noun in an informal and affirmative statement. Instead of saying there were many people in the park this morning, the preferred statement is there were a lot of people in the park this morning. But we may use many in a formal affirmative statement before a noun or when the noun is followed by a relative clause. Many papers were published on climate change. Here many is used in formal affirmative sentence. There are many elderly people who have no place to live. Here many is used in a sentence because the noun people is followed by a relative clause who. Many is used in different combinations such as so many, too many, a great many, and a good many. The celebrities have to answer too many personal questions to the media. Many along with of and followed by articles, possessives, demonstratives or pronouns take a plural verb. Many of my colleagues are on leave today. Many along with an indefinite article a or an and followed by a singular countable noun takes a singular verb. Many a student has completed the project. The second quantifier we shall discuss is much. Much also denotes the quantity of a noun, but in contrast to many, it is used only for uncountable nouns. It is used in negative and interrogative sentences such as she isn't paying much attention. How much experience have you had? In general, it is preferred to use a lot of or lots of in place of much before a noun in an informal affirmative statement. Thus, instead of saying I have much work to do, the preferred sentence would be I have a lot of work to do. But in a formal and affirmative sentence, much can be used. There is much concern about drug addiction in Punjab. The quantifier much along with of and followed by articles, possessives, demonstratives or pronouns takes a singular verb. Much of the roof has broken. Much of my room is empty. Much of this book is fiction. Much can be used in different combinations such as very much, so much, too much, and so on. He drank too much water. He loves her so much. This is interesting in the type of sentence structures such as do you think many people will come? It actually means that the writer or speaker is expecting only a few people to turn up. If he really expects many people to come, he should say, do you think a lot of people will come? Similarly, when the speaker says, do you think much milk is wasted in transportation? It actually means that he is expecting that only a little milk is being wasted. If he really expects that significant amount of milk is being wasted, he should say, do you think a lot of milk is wasted? The determiner few is used to denote negligible amount of plural countable nouns. Few students were interested to visit the warehouse. Few should not be used with negative expressions. It will be incorrect to say few students don't know about the exam schedule. The other forms of few are a few, the few, etc. Let us look at some examples. Few employees know about the pension scheme. Here few implies that almost no one knows about it. I have a few books. Here a few books denotes very small number of books. The few books that I have are bestsellers. The few books denotes whatever small number of books the writer or speaker has. The quantifier little denotes the small or negligible quantity of uncountable nouns. I have little interest in biology. It should not be used with negative expressions. So it's wrong to say there is no little water in the bottle. The other forms of little are a little, the little, etc. There is little water in the bottle. Here little means almost no water. There is a little water in the bottle. A little means a small amount of water. The little money that I had was spent. Here the little means whatever small amount of money the speaker had. Some. Some denotes indefinite or limited quantity and can be used with both countable and uncountable nouns. The students showed some excitement for the trip to the science museum. Can you bring me some flowers? Here excitement is an uncountable noun and flowers is a plural countable noun. There are some elephants in Africa. It is not appropriate to use some to denote quantity which is not limited. We should instead say there are elephants in Africa. It is also incorrect to say the earthquake victims urgently need some tents, some blankets, and some water. Some cannot be used to represent large quantity. So we can write it as the earthquake victims urgently need tents, blankets, and water. We do not use some to mean a few when we are referring to units of time. It will be incorrect to say I am looking for someone to help me for some days. Rather, we should say I am looking for someone to help me for a few days. Some can be used with numbers to suggest an unexpectedly high amount. Some 30 billion was needed to repay the debt. Some 80% of the course is taken by an industry expert. Some can be used in two different forms. In the strong form, meaning of some is in contrast with others or all or enough. In this form, it can be used with both countable and uncountable nouns. Why do some infants sleep longer than other infants? Here the meaning some infants but not other infants is implied. I enjoy some classical music. Here the meaning is some but not all. There were some forms left but not enough for everyone. Here the meaning is some which is not enough. We can use some in the strong form to refer to someone or something particular but unknown, especially with singular countable nouns. There must be some way of getting the leave sanctioned. Some naughty kid broke the glass of my window. In the weak form, it is used to represent the quantity which is indefinite or not important. It is commonly used in affirmative sentences and in questions, usually expecting the answer yes. I have got some money. Have you got some pencils? Also, it can be used only with uncountable and plural countable nouns. I am looking for some information. Do you want some new clothes for the trip? In the weak form, some should not be used with singular countable nouns. If you are looking for some house on rent, you should visit housing.com. The correct way would be, if you are looking for a house on rent, you should visit housing.com. Any denotes an indefinite or unknown quantities of both countable and uncountable nouns. Katrina refused to answer any questions on her relationship with Balwan. Did you bring any milk? Any can also be used in two forms. In the strong form, any is used to describe something which is not limited. In this form, it is used in affirmative sentences for both countable and uncountable nouns. With a full license, you are allowed to drive any car. Here, any is used with the singular countable noun car. I like beef, lamb, pork, any meat. Here, any is used with the uncountable noun meat. We could choose any flavors we wanted for our ice cream. Here, any is used with the plural countable noun flavors. In the weak form, any represents indefinite quantities. It is used especially in negative and interrogative sentences. I haven't got any money. Have you got any pencils? Please note, in the weak form, any can be used only with a plural countable or an uncountable noun. Do you have any information about the flight? Do you want any new clothes for the trip? We don't use any in the weak form with singular countable nouns. So, have you got any book on Indian history is not correct. The correct sentence would be, have you got any books on Indian history? Or, have you got a book on Indian history? Let us see the difference between some and any with the help of these sentences. He has got some work. He has got any work. Here, some is more common in affirmative sentences. So the correct sentence would be, he has got some work. He hasn't got any work. He hasn't got some work. Any is more common in negative sentences. So the correct sentence would be, he hasn't got any work. Okay, now let's look at these. Has he got any homework? Has he got some homework? Here both some and any are correct. Any is more common in questions and we can use some when we are expecting the answer to be yes.
With this video, we conclude our module on nouns. In this module, we have covered 5 kinds of nouns: proper nouns, common nouns, abstract nouns, material nouns, and collective nouns. In the other classification of nouns, we discussed about countable nouns, uncountable nouns, special singulars, and special plurals. Finally, we discussed 6 types of determiners and their usage with different kinds of nouns. I'm sure this module would help you with your speaking and writing skills. Cheers!